I think you would have been just fine playing football at that point.
Yeah, and I actually was cleared, like I didn't have any restriction or anything like that. But again, when you're a kid, you don't want to make your parents worry. So just so my mom didn't have to worry, I still didn't do a lot of stuff. Which, looking back on it, I don't regret not doing. It would have been fun, yeah, but it's like, I still found ways to have fun as a kid. Shit, I'm talking to my bro
Yeah,
right now,
I
even
mean,
though not blood related, but he's my fucking bro. I don't give a fuck.
yeah, I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like when we were hanging out as a kid and stuff, like I wouldn't even have thought about that. Dude, you were always like running and shit, like running. Even when we were wrestling, I don't remember ever like you'd be like, "Hey, we gotta take it easy on this part." No, you kind of just went for it, dude.
Yeah, and that's another thing I feel like we should do more as a people. Like, I feel like these days we're so afraid of fucking failing. Like a lot, and again, me too, because there are things I want to do that I usually try to talk myself out of. Like, oh, you're not really going to be good at that, or you're kind of good at this thing, so this is where you should stay, where you're comfortable, stay in your comfort zone, which a lot of us do. We kind of stay where we're comfortable, and we never kind of go for it. Or if we go for it, we go for something that's not familiar, but not totally like foreign to us. Like, we find something that's not familiar in our comfort zone, and we go for that. But when we want to go for something we've never really done before, we kind of hesitate or kind of give ourselves all these reasons and excuses why we should just stick to what we do know. And I feel like we need to go for it more as a people.
Yeah,
And it's so cliche and it sounds kind of corny, but it honestly, like, I would rather try and fail than not try at all. Like, with this YouTube shit, realistically speaking, I've been way too inactive to ever really grow at this point, because most YouTube channels die within their first year, and I've been inactive for like 3 months at this fucking point. But I'd still rather, try this.
yeah, but you're definitely giving a way bigger shot than I am. I mean, and guys, like truly, actually put something in the comment. Like, I don't care if there's just three. I don't care if there's 12. Like, comment. Like, first off, comment. Like, what is it that you want to do? What's a goal you have? And then next, like, I find it really hard to do. Like, that's crazy to know that some people didn't have goals. Like, I guess I've always tried setting a goal. I don't really normally tell people my goals, but I always try setting some type of goal somewhere. So like it's really hard to see like you didn't have any goal.
No, I was always more of a in the moment type of person. Like, and again, just to reiterate the whole checkpoint thing.
When I was younger, I would definitely say that was me. But as I got older, like, okay, see, I have high blood pressure. So once I got older, I started thinking that's like, well, shit, I need to do stuff. Like, I'm gonna make it worth it. So, because when I was 14 when I found out that, so it's kind of like I quit playing football. I like when you're younger and someone says something like that to you that you have like some kind of heart issue, you literally rethink everything. You're like, wait. But I mean, I played football for like one more year after that. I've always had a thing for cars, and then I guess I did start buying up cars. I think I played when I was 15 for football, and then quit, and then I just started getting more and more into cars, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, I would really like to know other people's goals, dude. Like, how many people do you think are actually going to say doctor, and how many people you actually think are going to say like? I feel like police officer is the number one thing for most kids.
It may be. It'll definitely, like, and guys, again, like, I'm begging you here, please do get active in those comments. At least with this video, even if you go silent again on the other videos, like, this is like, because we're just talking again. We're being a family. We're open. Like, I don't look at you guys as like, oh, you're just my subs, whatever. Like, you don't really matter. Like, I'm gonna pretend to be grateful to have. No, like, you're like, you guys are my family. You guys are my friends. So, like, with this topic in particular, like, tell me what your thoughts are on everything. Again, like, me personally, I've always been more of a in the moment person. Like, the moment I was experiencing was like the top of Mount Everest for me. Like, there wasn't really a higher point, or there wasn't It's like when you're driving on a long highway and there's no like exit ramp. You're just going like those long ass painful stretches. But it wasn't painful to me. It was like this moment is great. But when you live your life like that, a lot of your life is actually spent not in creating new moments, but wanting to replay or re-experience moments that happened earlier in your life. Like that's why, like, you could call me overly sensitive, and I'll admit that I am at times, but that's why it kind of bugs me when my younger friends from like elementary and middle school stop talking to me, because my memory is really good and I can remember, conversations I had with certain people. Like we had that conversation yesterday, and it's been like 7 or 8 years. So because I still play out those moments where we were really close, and I was contemplating like, always having these people in my life. And I feel like that's another thing we struggle with as a people. We like no one really, like, your parents can't prepare you for when people kind of come and go out of your life. They can only talk to you about it, but they can't really like teach you how to kind of guard your heart, or there's not really a way to word it that I could think of. So if I'm saying it weirdly, I apologize. But your parents can't really teach you how to emotionally or mentally prepare for how to be close to someone, and then how to be okay with them leaving your life. It's more of like, it's something we all have to experience and come to terms with at our own time, at our own pace. And sometimes I feel like I have come to terms with the fact that that's going to happen, and other times I kind of relapse, and the shit bothers me. Like people I haven't talked to in like 10 years at this point. It still bothers me that we don't talk sometimes, but other times I'm okay with it, and they're just living their life, and I wish them well. I wish we could talk, but we're not, and I try to accept that. But most of the time that shit does bother me, because I've always been the type of person where if we're close, we're close. It doesn't matter how far away you move, how long it's been since we talked. Close is close. Like if I fuck with you, I really fuck with you. You got to do like some extremely like bad shit or like hurtful shit to me personally for us to stop being close. Because I'm the type of person, if you have a friend in me, you got a friend for life. Like if everybody turns on you, I'm gonna be your friend. I'm always gonna be there for you. But I had to, as I've gotten older, I've tried to come to terms with the fact that people more than likely people are more than likely not going to feel for you how you feel for them, and they're not going to give to you what you give to them in terms of friendship or even in relationships. Like you could do X, Y, and Z for your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but a lot of the times you may not get what you feel like you give. Like, and it could be totally different to them. They could be like, well, you do this for me, so I'm going to do that for you. It may not be giving you the same thing that you give me, but I'm giving you something in another like field. And at this point I feel like I'm starting to ramble, but do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I definitely get it. But then again, dude, like we do have some younger people, so you explaining it a little bit more in depth might be better. Like, so, like, dude, tell you the truth, like when you first said this, I kind of went into like I was trying to think of like how I could like react on it. It's not something easy to react on. Like this wasn't wrote out, guys. This isn't like scripted.
Yeah, this is all raw, first take, like off the top of the head. We don't have scripts. We don't write it. Like I just hit record while we're playing and we talk.
It's a hard one to take, dude. Like that's But in the case of friends, dude, like, I guess I was expected in high school. I started seeing the true color of some of my friends, and I decided that I'm, like, guys, to tell you the truth, kind of decided, like, it was time to eliminate some of the people. Like, when you get older, you're going to have to make a tough decision. If you haven't already, you may already be out of high school, whatever. But if you, say you're in high school or lower, you're eventually going to find out some of your friends aren't who you thought they were, and you're going to be ended up losing either a lot of friends, maybe very little. Maybe you're better at picking friends. I know I got rid of a lot of my friends. Laziiii and a couple others. I think I only have like that I 100% trust. Well, I guess I don't 100% trust because I do have trust issues, but like people I'd help, I think there's only like 4 people that I would probably loan money to or whatever. And you got to be careful of who you pick on those things.
Yeah. And for people who kind of may find themselves in the position I find myself in sometimes, a lot of the times you kind of know who you need to, cut out of your life or kind of stop being as close to, or like stop clinging to them so strongly.
Yeah, that's what I kind of meant, dude. Like, you don't have to eliminate people from it. I mean, I did, guys. I'm straight up. If you do something so edgy, I would. I'll turn. I'm not gonna let you get me or something. It's just not happening.
But in those cases, for like people who kind of find themselves kind of reliving those past moments like I do, a lot of the times it's the hardest thing in the world. Like, we can know, like, and again, in my personal experience, when it comes to friends, even in relationships, there has come a point where I knew I should stop clinging to the person as strongly as I was. But it was the hard, just because I knew that didn't mean I could do it, because I would mentally know that I wasn't getting in return what I was giving to them as a friend, or even, as a lover, whatever. But just because I knew that, I couldn't accept it. I couldn't accept that I needed to stop caring as much as I did. It was the hardest thing in the world for me to do, because again, when you have a friend in me, you have a friend for life. That's how I look at it. I could know for a fact, like, I've literally saved people's lives, and people have saved my life too. So I'm not one of those people who throw up what I've done. But just to give you guys an example, I've literally saved someone's life, like, literally looked at my phone by complete coincidence, and because I responded, someone didn't kill themselves. And you know what, and it's not that I needed, like, validation, but it just would have been nice. Like, I saved that person's life, and then they posted the next day on social media that someone else was their best friend. And it was kind of like a slap in the face. In this example, might paint me out to be a bad person who kind of wants validation, which I really didn't. It was just kind of a slap in the face to me, because it's like, how can this person be your best friend, but where were they when you were gonna kill yourself? When I was there for you. It's not more of like I wanted to be praised on social media or anything like that, but it was like I was the one who was there for you when nobody else was. But here you are kind of praising these people after everything I've done for you. And that was kind of one of the examples where it's like, I shouldn't cling to this person as much as I do. But just because I know this, I'm mentally aware of it, doesn't mean I can do it. It didn't mean it was the hardest thing in the world for me to stop caring about them as much as I did. I worried about them. I still worry about them, even though we don't talk. I'm pretty sure they're not losing any sleep over the fact that we don't talk. But sometimes I do. I wonder how they're doing. I hope they're safe. But sometimes there comes a point in life where you have to value your own happiness more than someone else's. And that sounds terrible, but here's my thinking with that. How many times, and I'm pretty sure everyone in the comments and even you, there came a point in your life where you were trying so hard to make somebody else happy that you put your own happiness second, and you were miserable because of it.
Yeah, you definitely know that one, man.
Like, and that's the thing we do as people. There comes a point in our lives, again, friend, lover, whatever, where we're just trying so hard to make this one particular person or people happy around us, in our circle, whatever it may be. We're trying so hard to make a person or people happy that we put our own happiness second, and we become miserable because of it. And 90% of I'm not going to keep throwing out percentages, but in my experience, 9 times out of 10, the harder I tried to make a person or people happy, the more miserable I became, because it was like I was doing it for nothing. The harder I tried to keep people happy, the more they wanted me to do. So I've said all of this, and again, I probably started rambling, so I'm sorry about that, but I've said all of this to say, when you start to have those thoughts that you probably shouldn't care about somebody as much as you do, you really need to give it a long, hard thought. Think about it more than once, because sometimes we get emotional. I've done it myself. I've made a decision because I was emotional, and then when I'd calmed down and thought about things, with a cool head, I kind of regretted that I did something hasty. But at that point, it's life. You got to move on. When you start to have those thoughts, wait until you've kind of calmed down. If you're upset, sad, angry, whatever, excuse me, and when you have a cool head, kind of think about it and say, This is what I give this person or these people, and this is what I get in return. If you feel like you're not getting back what you give, then it may be time to, if you don't cut them off or like cut them out of your life, it may be time to kind of take a step back and not give as much as you give, as much as you do, because you're not getting it back in return. That is the best. That's the only piece of advice I feel confident even trying to give, because when you do it like that, when you take a step back, because if I'm being 100% honest with you guys, even the person I told the story about earlier, if they wanted to talk, I'd still talk to them. Like, I haven't cut them out of my life. It's just we don't talk, because it's kind of like they're not reaching out to me, I'm not reaching out to them. But if they wanted to talk, we could. Sometimes we just have to take a step back from the person or the people we care about, but we aren't getting back what we're giving. And just sometimes that leads to being happier, because you're not so stressed, you're not kind of frustrated, because if you're like me, you're kind of always thinking about, I do so much and I care so much about you, but it's like everything I give to you, I'm getting like a fraction of that back. And I lose sleep over this sometimes. Like, sometimes I'll get depressed, I'll get sad, I'll get pissed off, because it does bother me. Like, dude, like, if you only knew how much I really fucking cared about you. And it's kind of like, oh, you can take or leave me. That shit bothers me. If you're like that, sometimes just taking a step back makes that whole relationship or friendship so much easier, because that expectation that you're going to get back what you're giving isn't as strong, or it doesn't bother you as much, and it can just make things easier to deal with. Holy shit.
Alright, quick thing. You left your mini bike light on.
I did, didn't I? Holy shit, this gaming session got kind of deep out of nowhere.
Yeah, dude, it got so deep, dude, that's like, I can't stop thinking of the whole, like, the whole checkpoint thing, dude. Like, it's kind of crazy. If you're good at video games, you should be good at life now, guys.
Holy shit, people are gonna be like, dude, like, where's the scary gameplay? Where's Dead Space? What the fuck's this shit? I didn't want to think about life and shit, which, I'm pretty sure people are gonna blow it off. But, for those of you who
we're playing a survival game, you gotta hear it.
For those of you who actually do, like, actually consider everything, and again, what we're saying isn't gospel, it's just our perspective on, what we're talking about. We're still learning and shit like that, so don't take it as, oh, we're thinking like we know it all. No, we don't know it all. We're actually saying we fucking don't, and we're trying to figure this shit out. It's just, for those of you who don't just blow over or, like, brush off this video, like, get in the comments and give your perspective on everything that's been talked about. Like, do you have those struggles? Or if not, just be vocal, I guess. Like, this video is probably going to be long as shit, because I'm sure we've been talking for 30 minutes at this point. But, like, it's just more meant to make you
we
think.
can cut this one off if you want, but I really do want people to put in the comments, like, some type of thing. Like, one, I definitely want to know, when you were little, maybe even today, what is your goal? Like, dream job, or, like, do you want to go bungee jumping? Do you want to go... Well, what are your goals? Let's see what that is. We'll see how we do on this one.
Yeah, and if you didn't and or don't, have, like, a dream job or any, what we have learned to come and think of as a goal. Like, are you more of a in the moment type of person? Like, I live like this, I live in this moment, or the moment captures us, or whatever. If you think like that, get vocal about that, and tell us kind of what moment you're living in right now. Just be vocal, guys. Like, this is all meant to make you think. Like, if I'm being real, this gameplay is not something. This is more of a video where you kind of do some shit while listening to. Like, all I did was walk around the roof, so you don't really have to watch the gameplay because I didn't do shit. But it's more of listen to it, think, give some feedback, and we can have a conversation. Like I said, you guys are the family. You're not just, oh, I'm happy I have this. No, we're family. We can have talks and debate and all that. But this is going on a little bit long. We're probably going to keep recording all day, but I am going to cut this one off here. So I hope to see some feedback in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got to this point, I know I kind of rambled and reiterated the same thing over and over and over again, but again, this ain't scripted. This is just our raw first thoughts. Alright, and Laziiii out. Everybody say peace out to Killer Ace.
Everybody should have a good day.
And we're cooking all the dumplings.